now by everyone's first crush, man, woman, and child. So if you were here from 2015 to 2017, 2014 too, why not, his freshman year. Cole Barrett is here on the podcast, and he is looking very jolly and in the mood for Christmas. Those of you listening on the podcast, you definitely want to check out the video of today's episode. I got to ask, before we go anywhere else, Cole, what's with the getup?
For those who are listening, I have no idea what Joe's talking about. For those who are watching this on YouTube, you just got to spread some holiday cheer every now and then, and that's what I'm trying to do. So,
fair enough.
Enjoy the holidays. Stay safe. Spend some time with family, and get to see old Santa Claus.
But I do want to begin with the blanket kind of question of what you're doing now. Try to get an idea. Tell people what's been going on in Cole Barrett's world.
So got a job. It was great. Moved out to Iowa for 2 months for training, and then went to Chicago, and I've been in Chicago ever since. Chicago's been an awesome city to me. The winter is here now, so everybody's kind of bearing down for that. I had to put plastic wrap over my windows because I live in a 19th century building. It's an old brownstone, but it's good. And I just took a new job in September. Same field I was in before, but it's asset management. So I work for an asset manager, trading bonds. So you get long days doing it, but it's fun and rewarding, and I'm enjoying it so far.
Let's go back to that senior year. Speaking of Terry and Lawrence, it was their senior year as well.
Yep.
I want to reflect on probably the worst part of your season, being hurt in the ODAC tournament. I don't know, from your perspective, what was it like feeling that pain? And then also, how quickly were you able to turn it around to being a cheerleader?
Yeah, right away when it happened, I knew something was bad. I think immediately you try to tell yourself it's not as bad as it is. All I wanted was for Chris Casola to say you can play tomorrow. Obviously, that wasn't the case. The bus ride home that day was terrible. I threw my leg on top of Daniel Owens, and I told him, please, for the love of God, do not move. But yeah, I mean, it's tough, to be honest with you. I didn't expect it. You can't expect something like that. But, credit to the team. I mean, kicked ass that game. I know CJ played out of his mind. Chris Hamilton, the best game of his career in my mind. I was in a hospital getting x-rays on my knee, but I was getting text updates on what was going on in the game. So, credit to those guys. And then in terms of turning it around and, now you're on the sidelines. I mean, for me, there's obviously kind of that mental battle in the back of your head. Like, all I want to do is be out there playing, but control what you can control. I couldn't control that I wasn't going to be back on the field, suited up. And there was one thing I could do, which was, be on the sidelines and try to be as supportive as I can be, just like, 30 plus guys do throughout a season. So I was over there with those guys, and we were just doing our job, rooting people on, trying to get people prepared for games and practices. And you just kind of carry on that role from there. Roles are always going to change, but you just got to be prepared to kick ass in whatever role you're in. So that's what I was trying to do.
Well, let's go back to a really happy moment on the field, at least in the beginning, was that 2015 championship. And never been there before as a program. And I don't know how many people, if there was any type of betting line that a long stick would score the first goal of the game. But I know how I reacted. I know I was fired up. I never got a chance to ask you, at least I don't remember asking you specifically about the championship game. Opening goal comes from your stick. How vivid? I assume you remember it pretty well. Can you go back to that moment and just take us through the steps of picking up the ball and then deciding when to shoot and when it goes in?
Yeah, I think it's just a culmination of a lot of work, individually, obviously, but also as a team. That play doesn't happen if Bobby doesn't, fight his ass off on the face-off X. It doesn't happen if Chris Howard doesn't win that ground ball. It doesn't happen if our attackmen don't spread out and let me get some space to shoot. Knew it was a lefty goalie. Knew, offside hip, low and away, put it somewhere in that area and hope it gets by him. And that's what happened. I was fortunate enough to score that goal. Great for momentum. I think everybody was pumped after that. Admittedly, Joe kind of blacked out a little bit. Stuff like that happens. It all becomes like reflexes. It's not like I'm thinking about it as it's happening. It's just, you just kind of do it.
Last thing I want to get to, and you kind of touched on it a little bit. I love to talk to former men's lacrosse players about the culture. And I'm curious to know, because obviously this staff looks to recruit a certain player. Every program does, right? The one that's going to fit their style or their overall culture. They're looking at the person just as much as they are the player. But I'm curious about the culture here. It might have been easier after that championship run for people to buy in, but maybe not so much before that. Were you bought in as a recruit, or did it take you getting into a full season to be really bought into the message that was being preached, the big picture of being a great man, not just a great player? Because by the end of it, you were, whether you know it or not, seen as, like the epitome of that culture. So when did you buy into it?
Yeah. I think like just always me as a person, I wanted to be great at something. There's a million things I'd love to be great at. It's just a matter of, putting in the time and work. So I was coached by a Lynchburg graduate in high school. This guy, Jason Jeffries, was like a father figure to me. So I think that's where it all started. I started playing lacrosse my sophomore year because all my friends did it and I didn't. And they were having a blast doing it, like Daniel Owens, right? 2017 classmate of mine. Still talk to him every day. Childhood friend. He was playing lacrosse. And I was like, all right, man, I got to check this out. So went out and played JV. He's been playing varsity since he was a freshman. Played JV that year, and I was like, oh, man, this is great. And then my junior and senior year, I got to be coached by Jason Jeffries. And his mindset, you can tell he's a Lynchburg graduate just by the way he talks and, is reminiscent of Coach K and what he preaches. So I think that's where it started. When I was a freshman, you're working for all the respect. You're not given any. And I think that's fair. Once you start working, I think people realize that. And what's cool about Lynchburg is, people see you working hard. They're going to work harder alongside you or work harder to be better than you. And that's just how it goes. So I think that's one thing that, I love about that, about the culture there is that, guys are working hard and other people want to work hard because, that's just what everybody's doing around them. Coach Kudelka does a fantastic job of being consistent. He talks the talk and walks the walk, and he does it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So when you have such a good example, it's like, all right, let's see what happens if I dive in the deep end. And, for current players or whoever's listening to this, you'll hear so many alumni say it, but it's just, just dive in, just commit to it. Good things will come from it. There's plenty of examples, plenty of, great guys. Don't look to me. There's a million other guys who have done great things at Lynchburg and are still doing great things. Coach K, obviously, and the alumni coaching staff that's there. So, culture is great, man. It's something that I miss, but it's very accessible to talk to guys all the time. So, and that's what we do. Coach Kudelka and the staff do a great job of connecting the alumni to everything. I swear I get 3 emails a week from them. So, very, very fortunate to have had the opportunity to be a part of that program, for sure.